Resuming debate of the Prise du Débat, the honourable member for Richmond Hill South.
Mr. Speaker, it is an honour to rise in this chamber for the first time as the newly elected Member of Parliament for Richmond Hill South, the place I've called home for the vast majority of my life. I do so with humility and deep gratitude to the people who place their trust in me and are letting me be their voice. To the people of Richmond Hill, thank you. You voted for me for a change, and I will fight for that change. Rest assured, I will fight for your families, your values, and your future every single day in this House. To my family, your support means the world. To my parents, thank you everything that you've done to get me here. And to my wife, thank you for being part of this journey so we can build a better future for our daughter. To my colleagues in the Conservative caucus, it's a tremendous privilege to stand alongside each and every one of you. Before running for office, I was a corporate lawyer. I have 4 degrees from Canada's top universities, licensed to practice law in Canada and the United States, a CFA charter holder, and a partner at a major law firm. I gave that all up and entered public service not to see government grow, but to see opportunity grow and make way for bigger and prouder citizens. Not to see failure excused, but to see merit rewarded. And not to see Canadians divided by region, creed, or conflicts abroad, but to see them united under a proud flag and behind a shared promise. The promise of a country where hard work pays off, justice prevails, and the next generation inherits not less, but more. During my election campaign, I've had the opportunity to talk to many people in Richmond Hill South. Our team knocked on 100,000 doors, and I want to champion the issues that I have heard in this chamber. Mr. Speaker, unlike the Liberals who feel no urgency to table a budget on time, I stand here today with a clear mission to fight for policies which will restore safety in our streets, affordability in our economy, respect for our seniors, and opportunity for the next generation of Canadians. Let's start with what should be the simplest promise a government can make: to keep Canadians safe. Because the Liberals' decade-long soft-on-crime approach, an unprecedented crime wave has been unleashed into our communities across the country. It's been keeping our communities up at night. Violent incidents, gang activities, carjackings, and home invasions, often committed by repeat offenders, by the way, are becoming all too common all across Canada. Let me be clear, this is not fear-mongering. It is reality the people of Richmond Hill live with each and every day. I've spoken to seniors who don't feel safe walking to the park, to parents who worry when their kids walk to school, and to small business owners who've been robbed on multiple occasions while the criminals walk free. Public safety must never be a partisan issue. Yet under the Liberal government, a catch-and-release bail system allows repeat offenders to cycle in and cycle out of custody, all while our communities suffer the consequences. A system where criminals convicted of serious offenses get house arrest rather than mandatory prison time, and those criminals with consecutive convictions are rewarded with discounted sentences. This is an injustice and a slap in the face to the victims. While the Prime Minister talks a big game about addressing crime, his throne speech doesn't mention ending this Liberal revolving door get-out-of-jail-free justice system. We need to restore real consequences for violent crime and stand up for victims, not criminals. Because without law and order, there can be no freedom, no prosperity, and no peace of mind. But safety isn't just about crime. It's also about confronting the devastating Liberal-sponsored drug crisis which has been destroying lives and families all across Canada. Opioid drug overdoses have risen to record levels under the Liberals' disastrous policies, claiming the lives of over 50,000 Canadians, a death toll that now exceeds the Second World War. The so-called safe supply policies and safe injection site experiments have utterly failed. Liberal government-supplied drugs have flooded our streets that are compounding on the pain and suffering of those already impacted by addictions. Decriminalizing hard drugs and giving out needles from vending machines have turned our neighborhoods into open drug scenes, where overdose deaths continue to rise, not fall. This is not harm reduction. This is government-orchestrated harm promotion. We need a new path, a path that offers real hope, real healing, and real recovery. We must focus on treatment over trauma. Solutions must be rooted in dignity, not dependency. And lastly, we must punish the fentanyl kingpins as the mass murderers that they are, because every Canadian deserves the chance to rebuild their lives, and that starts with a system that helps them get off drugs, not keeps them addicted.
That's right.
Mr. Speaker, our streets became less safe from government-sponsored chaos, but also our economy is now in decline from a decade of Liberal vandalism. Canadians are being squeezed from every direction. Groceries, gas, heating, housing, it's all going up. And people are falling behind. The liberal job-killing industrial carbon tax is driving up the cost of everything, except for those who can least, especially for those who can least afford it. Farmers, truckers, working families, they're all paying more while this out-of-touch government offers less. This isn't about reducing emissions. This is economic punishment on hardworking families that are feeling the squeeze more than ever before. We need to stop punishing work and productivity and sabotaging our country's competitiveness. That starts with axing the carbon tax for good and letting Canadians keep more of their hard-earned money. But it also means addressing the deeper issue created by this Liberal government, the productivity crisis that is dragging our economy down globally and depriving working-class Canadians a chance to get ahead. Mr. Speaker, investment is fleeing. Productivity is declining. Factories are shutting down, and good-paying jobs are vanishing. That's not just bad for business, it's bad for workers, for wages, and for our long-term growth. No Canadian should be out of work because their Liberal government refuses to get out of the way. We must unleash the potential of our economy, and that means cutting Liberal red tape that chokes small businesses. It means speeding up project approvals so we can develop our natural resources responsibly, build infrastructure, and attract investment. It means rewarding entrepreneurship, embracing innovation, and making it easier, not harder, for Canadians to build and create. Next, we must champion pipeline development, not just as an energy policy, but as a nation-building project. We need to get our resources to market, create thousands of high-paying jobs, and strengthen our energy sovereignty. It means ending the self-sabotaging and anti-energy policies. Yet the throne speech makes no mention of Canada's oil and gas sector, which is Canada's most vital industry. We need to be a country where a good idea can become a business, and a business can then become an industry. Where students see a future not of delay and scarcity, but of drive and abundance. Where we can make things again, build things again, and grow things again, with the Canadian worker at the center of it all. And that's the difference between members of this side of the House and those opposite. Conservatives want to grow the pie for Canadians, while Liberals want to think of ways to slice it up amongst themselves. Nowhere is the failure of the Liberal government's policies more obvious than in the housing market. Young couples are delaying and even foregoing starting a family because they are completely priced out. Mortgage payments and rents have doubled, while incomes have stayed flat or even declined. Young families are being priced out of their communities completely, while government funding creates more bureaucracy than housing. Plain and simple, the Liberals have orchestrated a supply crisis and perpetuated the housing hell that an entire generation is forced to endure. We need to incentivize municipalities to build more homes faster. We need to require results and accountability, not endless reports and consultants where no strings are attached to Liberal federal funding. And we need to remove the gatekeepers who delay and deny projects that Canadians desperately need. It should not take years and hundreds of thousands of dollars just to get a permit to build a home. Nurses should be able to afford to live near the hospital that they work at, and tradespeople should be able to afford to live in the homes that they themselves have helped build. Mr. Speaker, people aren't just angry or frustrated anymore. They are losing hope. They're suffocating, and misery is becoming the new normal. When you can't walk down the street without fear, when housing is completely out of reach and wages are stagnant, and when work is punished and bureaucracy is rewarded, our country cannot thrive. But I believe in the resilience of Canadians. I believe in the strength of our values and the promise of our future. I will fight for that Canadian promise, a country that is safe, affordable, and free, a country that is not obsessed with our differences, but focused on what unites us, a country where compassion is measured not by the size of government, but by the faith and strength of our communities, a country where freedom is not a gift from government, but a birthright of every Canadian citizen, and a country that believes in responsibility, not excuses, and in celebrating success, not sabotaging it. That is the Canada I will fight for. That is the Canada that Richmond Hill deserves, and that is the Canada we will build together. Thank you so much, Mr. Speaker.
Very good.
Questions and comments? Questions et commentaires? The honourable member for South Shore St. Margaret's.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for that. South Shore St. Margaret's. I'd like to thank my colleague from across the floor, and I know a lot of his speech today was talking about the planning and readiness and preparedness, and it makes me think, Mr. Speaker, about the fires that are going on right now in Manitoba and Saskatchewan. And myself, through our constituency and our riding of South Shore St. Margaret's last year, had some devastating impacts of fires, both in our Chantalon area and our Shelburne regions. So my question, Mr. Speaker, to my colleague would be what he feels about the emergency preparedness measures that are going to be impacting so many of our different constituencies, unfortunately, right now. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
The honourable member for Richmond Hill South.
Mr. Speaker, I'd like to thank the member for her question. Let's not let the Liberals distract us from the crime wave and their horrible record over the last 10 years and the crime wave that they've unleashed into our communities and the housing crisis that they have perpetuated in the last 10 years. When I've knocked on doors during the election campaign, that's what I've been hearing. It's this housing crisis that this Liberal government has perpetuated. I've spoken to so many young people at the doors over this election. 30-year-olds, 35-year-olds, 40-year-olds living in these beautiful single-family homes, townhomes, and single detached homes. But when they tell me about their issues, they don't actually live in those homes. It's actually their parents' homes. That is the housing crisis we've created, that the Liberals have created, and that they're living in. They're working, gainfully employed, sometimes even 2 jobs, but they can't afford to buy a home. They've done everything that society has asked of them, but they can't afford to buy a home.
Questions et commentaires, l'honorable député.
Questions and comments. The honourable member for Montcalm. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. My colleague mentioned the fentanyl crisis. It's a horrific crisis. We studied it for a year on the Standing Health Committee. He also covered the aspect of treatment. Many experts and parents came as witnesses and told us that healing often comes after relapse. How does he feel about our national strategy based on 4 pillars? I feel that we should increase consultation and work on that strategy.
His question, 50,000 people have died from this opioid crisis in the last 10 years. That death toll is higher than the Second World War. That is the human tragedy that we're talking about. The failed drug policies, the decriminalization of hard drugs, drugs like crack, cocaine, fentanyl that the Liberals have sponsored federally. Things like fentanyl, 2.5 grams. You can kill every member of parliament with 2.5 grams of fentanyl. That's how many lethal doses of fentanyl 2.5 grams is, yet it's legal. We need to start locking up the fentanyl kingpins for the mass murderers that they are. Thank you so much. Thank you, Speaker.
Questions, comments. The honourable member for Okanagan Lake West, South Kelowna.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and congratulations on your appointment. I'd like to congratulate this new member for a fantastic maiden speech in this chamber. He's going to bring a lot from the good people of Richmond Hill. What I would like to ask him is, during the election, the government said that they would do some limited bail reform. To me, my constituents of Okanagan Lake West, South Kelowna, know that there are huge challenges with people, what they call just a catch and release system. Does he agree with the Liberals, or does he think that we need more than what the Liberals have put on offer?
The honourable member for Richmond Hill South.
Mr. Speaker, I'd like to thank my colleague for his question. It's not fear-mongering. This is just the reality that we live in. It's a crime wave. Carjackings are up, home invasions are up, violent crime is up, gun crime is up. The Liberals sponsored this catch and release policy, and everyone I talk to, the flower shop I go to got robbed, that I normally go to, the grocery store I normally go to got robbed, my dentist got robbed, my pharmacist got robbed, my optometrist got robbed too. and my neighbors have gotten robbed, my friends have gotten robbed. Everyone has been robbed. Like, I mean, this is a serious issue.
They laugh.
It's time
They're
for the
laughing.
Liberals to
They think it's
finally
funny.
take action. Thank you.